All right, Nick. Just the guy you want on the mound when you need a blown save opportunity. Manuel Chase. And by that, Place is not going to be a guy that's probably going to give up 3 runs. Just saying. Now, I'm going to try my best to jinx him.
What did you call him?
Emmanuel Clace.
Class A.
Fuck him.
Oh, boy. And we're off.
How is it that first of all,
I guess there's someone running around on the field right now.
Does look like that.
Stewart seemed like he was getting a kick out of it.
Can we see it?
I don't know. I come on, like you know what's going on. People have cell phones. Like, just show it. Let's have the game's supposed to be an entertainment. I mean, let's go.
By the way, how come every time I don't have a broadcast on, and of course I don't know this guy. I literally don't know anybody outside the Reds and guys that have played the last 2 years against the Reds. What are the chances that guy's name's Class A? By the way.
What are the chances his name is Class
Yeah, I mean,
A?
like, who spells a name like that, and that's how you say it? This isn't. Is he from Britain?
I don't believe so. I think he's from the Dominican Republic. I would assume. Yeah, he's from the Dominican Republic because I wrote something about him. Yeah, they couldn't find him after he got busted for steroids.
Well, there's that.
Those who listen to Chatterbox Red this morning know about that.
Well, that was clearly I'm busted.
It's all right. I'll give you a day off. I wouldn't.
Well, yeah, heaven forbid you take one.
Oh, Chatterbox account tweeted it out. Jimmy's on fire.
What's that?
Jimmy just tweeted Streaker and GABP in all caps.
I gotta see
it. He did a flip.
I gotta see it.
And then he got a flip and got tased. Oh my god.
I gotta see it. This is on Chatterbox?
Yeah, Jimmy's on fire. This might get some legs.
Oh, this has got real legs.
It's got 9 retweets.
Real legs. This has got some real.
Let's go, Jimmy.
Don't hit Stewart.
Let's go, Jimmy.
They did a backflip, man.
Did you see
that? Holy
Just cancel the show. We're just talking about this. Stu!
Oh, nice. Nice.
Athlete. That's a good quote tweet. That's a good quote.
Thank you.
A good quote tweet. All right, I gotta get this on Twitter. Oh.
A little English on it. That's a hit, right? They're gonna call that a hit.
That better be a hit.
Is he allowed to walk somebody right here?
I don't know. He doesn't do much of anything. Doesn't give up like
a walk and then a home run. That's what I'm thinking.
He just gave up his first home run of the year. I think is last time out or second to last time out.
I like Steve. Stevenson must be pretty confident. He's in here trying to hit 100-mile-an-hour cutters on his hands. Down 1-0. Or, up in the count. 1-0, I should say. Chatterbox Sports Twitter account is I'm not fixing the hole in my wall. Okay, guys? Come on. Stop asking me. That's going to be the most popular tweet we've ever had is Streaker at GAP.
Yeah. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
He was trying to tase that guy. I'm sorry, Chad. I'm trying to lock it in. I got to be honest, though. I've already given up. I mean, dude's got a zero ERA. We're down 3. Maybe I've given up too much hope, but I am gonna find it hilarious that this cop they couldn't get the taser done. They couldn't get the taser done in time. Dude drops a backflip right in their face. That's all time.
You better buy Jimmy lunch tomorrow for that.
Is it Jimmy for sure? Is that who it is?
Well, Jimmy's at the game with Casey
and Jacob.
Okay. I didn't know Jacob was there.
Jacob's
I saw the Sky Roses, and it was just the two of them. So maybe it's Jacob. Maybe it's Jacob. Whoever did that deserves lunch, though.
Man, that taser couldn't have felt good.
Get out.
You're ahead of me. If he gets on, I just need to pause and a play. We don't have to try to sync it up.
Oh, I'm talking about another game I have a bet on.
Oh, you degenerate.
This game's over.
Mouse Cop said Elliot's there. Who knows who it was? We got a mixed bag.
All right. I wasn't really on the old X app very much. I just saw the Sky Roses, so I just assumed it was those two. But whoever did it, that's great work. Oh, and it just got it would have been nice if we would have retweeted, not did the whole thing that we do, but just got picked up by a 583,000 follower account. So
yeah,
there you go, baby.
It's gonna pick up some. How do you see that though? It's not in the quotes, is it?
No, you won't see it. It's a guy named McNeil. Oh God, Espinal. Oh man, this isn't fair. Should I even bother to put the base runner on base here?
No, you can if you want. I wouldn't worry about it.
All right, I gotta get these minor league scores on here.
I do feel like if they get one more on there, then we give the chat a chance here. Mouse Cop wants him to steal. I don't know what the point of that would be outside the fact, unless it's defensive indifference. Yep, that's what he meant by it. We'll take it if they give it to you.
Get down. Oh.
Get down. Get down. Okay, Nick. 2 on, Nick.
More importantly, I think I just want to bet. A parlay, baby. Let's go. Let's see what we got here. More importantly.
Please. Tell you what, that ball and on the trademark. Now we just need a blast. This feels more realistic here. Damn. About to eat that. Done. This is the first. This would be a nice time.
Let's go, baby. Plus 900.
That's some Louisiana Bayou. That's pretty nice. Blake Dunn. Boy, does it feel like the Reds every time they get in a big spot. We got Santiago Espinal and Blake Dunn swinging at balls on his shoe tops. Are you telling me that the Indianapolis Sounds or Nashville Sounds or whoever the hell else the Bats play don't have guys like this coming in the game?
Not all the time.
Based off your face, it means to tell me that this game might be over.
It's not over. Not yet. Blake's grinding. There you go, Blake.
Battle action. Little battle action.
He's fighting. Oh.
Nick? Oh my God.
He's smiling.
100
He just got hit in the noggin.
to the
100 miles
dome.
an hour. Got up and smiled. Oh my God. Throw him out. Throw him out.
Dude, them helmets deserve they deserve an award. Can I see the back of his head again? Is that the red mark on there?
Oh my God.
Okay. I think that's actually relatively okay news. You see how his helmet's kind of like moving and falling off? I think it helped absorb some of that energy.
Yeah. I mean, not to, there's more important things in this ball game, but you want him to stay in the game because I saw someone point out that he has the second fastest sprint speed on the Reds behind Ellie. So you clearly want him on first base.
Yeah, he's in the game. Unless the Reds do the old.
He just got. I've never seen a dude get hit in the head, get up and just smile and walk down to first. That's. He's like looking at his helmet. All right, so I need to pause this just for a second here.
Yeah, probably like a split second at least.
All right.
I'm seeing him look at his helmet right now.
Yeah, well, he's been looking at his helmet for a while.
Right. And they go to it. There we go. Umpires. Or no, not the umpires. Excuse me, the Guardians.
Well, TJ Friedl's that man. It'd be nice to sneak a little double down the line.
I say we just hit one into the moon deck.
That would also be nice.
Moon deck.
I would support that decision. In case you were wondering.
I'm a little exhausted if we're being honest.
All right, Tej.
We got Fairchild and now India. All right. We have a baseball show to do, and that could have been really cool, but it wasn't. All right, we'll be right back. We got a baseball show to do.
High drive, left center field, racing back to the Laurent Bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champions. In the air, left center field. Did he? He did! He did! Reds win! Reds win! Line to the right field. Genius, the first run ever with 4 home runs in a game. Can you believe it? In the air, down the right field line. Does it have a chance? The Reds have won on a 3-run home run on opening day by Ramon Hernandez. A strike away and out away is Homer Bailey. Ground ball to third. Frazier gloves. Throw to first, and Homer Bailey, for the second time in his major league career, has tossed a no-hitter. Oh, gosh. Oh, my God. Are you kidding me? Holy Moses, the second player in major league history to hit 7 home runs in the first 10 games. In the air, and the Reds win. What a dream beginning to the career of Jay Bruce.
All right, Nick. A losing edition of Chatterbox Reds. It'll be tough to get the Ohio Cup after we drop the first one, but maybe we'll be able to do it. We'll find a way. There's a will, there's a way. I know there's been a lot of fun made of the Ohio Cup, but I'm not going to make fun of it. I'm not going to make fun of it. If it's a cup, then I want to win it, and we're not off to a good start. We can do the box score recap immediately, but you have any kind of opening thoughts before we get to the box score recap, Nick?
No.
I like your
Nothing.
Bats shirt.
Yeah, supporting Noelvi today.
Yeah, I figured that.
Free Noelvi.
Yeah. I have no comment on that.
Yeah, we only got 2 people on here. It's been a grind tonight, man.
That's okay. You know why? Because, sometimes that's just how it goes. When the Reds get like one hit, sometimes they're close to getting no hits. Well, tonight, Chatterbox Reds might be. We got a couple hits to show for it. But the box score recap presented by Nick Kirby. Nick, take it away, buddy.
All right, Brent Suter, opener for the Reds, got through a scoreless top of the first. Third time Reds have used Suter. Third time he's been successful as an opener. Bottom of the first, TJ Friedl had a leadoff single. Then Jeimer Candelario doubled him home. That put the Reds up 1-0. Reds put some good swings after that against Guardians starting pitcher Triston McKenzie, but he had nothing to show for it thanks to Guardian center fielder Tyler Freeman. Steer hit a ball 401 feet, 102 off the bat. That Freeman robbed Steer of extra bases. And then Friedl hit a ball 391 feet at 103 off the bat that Freeman robbed a likely home run. Nick Martinez had a 1-2-3 top of the second. Then he had his worst outing as a reliever all year in the third. He gave up 4 hits. 2 of them were doubles, a walk, and he did not survive the inning. Reds trailed 3-1. Sam Moll and Lucas Sims each got 4 outs to stabilize the game for the Reds, but unfortunately, Triston McKenzie got locked in too. He retired 11 out of 12 batters in a row, and the Reds trailed 3-1 going into the bottom of the 6th. In the bottom of the 6th, Ellie had a leadoff walk. Jeimer Candelario grounded out, but that did move Ellie to second. And then Spencer Steer absolutely crushed a single 106 off the bat that scored Ellie and made it 3-2. That chased McKenzie from the game. Stuart Fairchild walked, but the Reds would strand Stu and Steer. Josh Naylor, he did something we've not seen a lot of in the top of the 8th. He squared up a pitch against Fernando Cruz, hit it 109 miles per hour, 425 feet to make it 4-2. Guardians got a run late. Reds were able to get a rally going in the bottom of the 9th. Actually had the winning run at the plate. TJ Friedl, a sharp line out in the game. Reds fall 3-2.
That they do, and I know that the story is going to most likely be the offense. I know that we have a deep drive of the day. I don't know if it's coming from the listen, Nick. No. You stop right there, Nick. Nick's all frustrated and upset at himself because he didn't have some graphic of DSC and the deep drive of the day. But, the reality is sometimes there's not a deep drive of the day. Sometimes there's just not. But you know what there is? There is a DSC, and they are a leader in renewable commodities for biofuel production, specializing in used cooking oil collection, aggregation, and sales. Visit www.deepsouthcommodities.com for more information. And thank you to John for the Sal Stewart 454-foot home run. That is his 6th home run of the year, if you're keeping track of the Dayton Dragons home run count. Most of us aren't, though, if we're being completely honest. Most of us.
How dare you?
Most of us. I didn't say nobody. I said most. All right, Reds offense, that's the main storyline, or their lack thereof, for that matter. But you know what? Here's my thought on that. I feel like sometimes when you play a solid baseball team like the Guardians, you aren't going to have a ton of opportunities, per se, to capitalize on being able to, score. And, not to jump too far down the list here, but it just felt like the opportunities were there. It just didn't ever get itself over the hump. And I don't know, how you feel about this, Nick. I think some of the storyline on my end is like the swings or the appearance of the at-bats kind of leaves a good amount to be desired at times for this baseball team. And I don't know if that's just the nature of the hitters that we have, and sometimes they just look poor. Because when you strip it all back in 2 or 3 weeks from now, Nick, and you've done this to me multiple times, and it's good that you do it because it's a good reminder that when you look at the numbers as a whole from time to time. Individually speaking, there are some bright spots to point towards in this Reds offense here and there. The only issue is that when we come up in big spots from time to time, Nick, it's like you have Espinal up in a really big spot, right? You have Blake Dunn up in multiple big spots. And unfortunately, this lineup's not deep enough right now to where you feel comfortable passing the baton more times than not. Again, to be very clear, they went on a 7-game winning streak with pretty much the same lineup. So, it's at this point though, I really don't want to do the feast or famine thing, Nick. Like I can't go another week if we're going to not score runs again, and then hope we get on another 4 or 5 game heater. Like we really need a stop game tomorrow. We won't get to that yet, but it just feels like it would be nice to feel like this isn't going to be some big streaky offense all year long.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Reds have overall done pretty well with the personnel that they have in terms of your clutch situations. I know, actually, I had to watch the Cleveland broadcast tonight, so I don't know if they showed it on the Reds broadcast. But on the Cleveland broadcast, they showed a stat. The teams with the most 2-out runs scored in baseball, Guardians are number 1, Reds are number 2.
Right.
So the Reds being number 2 in any offensive category is pretty wild. So I don't think it's that. I mean, I also look at this game and I go, if Tyler Freeman mistimed his jump, we have a whole different show tonight. And we're talking about, hey, Jake Fraley finally got his first home run in 20 weeks. It's a game of inches, and credit to the Guardians, they're a really good defensive team. That's the thing that I think stood out as much as the pitching was they made a lot of really good defensive plays, especially Tyler Freeman. That was a guy that Trace came to spring training this year, had been a shortstop, had not played center field since high school, and he only played center field in high school in an all-star game. He's always been a shortstop. They moved him to center field because they were desperate, and he's having a really nice year for them. And it was hard to believe that guy hadn't been playing center field his whole life tonight. But again, I don't know. It's hard to really get too upset about the offense because they were an inch or two away from having an entirely different outcome. I know a lot of people are upset they didn't do more against Triston McKenzie. I saw Triston McKenzie's numbers last 3 starts for him. He got absolutely rocked. I went into recording a podcast with Quincy Wheeler. Shout out to him, a guy that covers the Guardians. He's very, I think, realistic and grounded. He's not someone that just loves everyone. I came in, I said, hey, Triston McKenzie's having a really tough year. And he kind of pushed back on me and said, I think McKenzie's been a lot better than his numbers. So I don't know. Take that for whatever it's worth. But he was a lot higher on McKenzie than, kind of the narrative surrounding him coming into this game.
You nailed one of my points on the head there just a moment ago. Ifs and buts. You know the phrase I use for ifs and buts all the time, right? Having said that, though, the first inning, let's face it, we're fractions of an inch from having 2 big home runs, taking a relatively commanding lead. The game probably goes a little bit different from there in regards to the way that it's managed, and you get down towards the end, and you find yourself in a position to probably be able to win. And unfortunately, the Reds were trying to play, catch up, for lack of a better term, after they gave up the lead there, whatever inning that was, 3rd or 4th inning. But nonetheless, the other thing I was going to say, and I tweeted this out, it's like sometimes from an offensive standpoint, you can let the pitcher kind of squander in their own mess from time to time, and I'm not suggesting that you're up there not to hit. I'm okay with being aggressive in hitters' accounts. I don't want this to sound like this little league adage of let's everybody take till they get a strike or take till they get 2 strikes and then pray you're going to walk. That's not what I mean by this, but you have to have some semblance of a plan if you're going to swing in situations that most people wouldn't. And what I mean by that is Tyler Stevenson had a 3-0 count. The runner on second base, yes, no problem with it. You're down by 2 at the time. I think if you hit a home run, you tie the game. Obviously 3-0, you get a double or a base hit, everybody's happy. You hit a lazy fly ball, and then people are going to scratch their heads at that. That one honestly didn't frustrate me as much as the Candelario one because you got a guy that's thrown 6 straight balls, Nick, and Candelario is a guy that obviously we trust, but he checks swings. What do we like? He knows that's inexcusable. And for lack, Am I going to get sideways about that tonight? No. But when we peel back an onion of what ifs or opportunities and missed opportunities, that felt like a huge opportunity that went by the wayside because ultimately he ended up struggling the rest of that inning as well. And, Candelario gave him a free out when he was searching for anybody to help him, and Candelario gave him a gift.
I mean, McKenzie came in last 3 starts, gave up 8 home runs. So, I like that Candelario maybe being a little bit caught in between might have been, they know the numbers. They know that he's given up a lot of home runs. It was pretty clear. I think their plan was to try to be aggressive, try to ambush him in certain counts, try to hit the ball to the ballpark at a small ballpark. And I think, Candelario got probably caught in between in that one. I didn't have a problem with Tyler Stevenson taking a hack in a spot like that. No one's criticizing him if the ball gets down.
Right.
It just sometimes you miss, sometimes you don't. This, to be honest, though, Trace, this game feels like to me the game of the Reds played better than a couple of the games during the 7-game win streak they lost. Especially there was one game against the Cubs where the Reds I thought did not play very well at all, and they got a win.
Yes, the Abbott game, me and you, I think, seen eye to eye on that game. Like, there's just no reason in the world the Reds should have won that baseball game, absolutely at all. Abbott, that was a miracle. God's honest truth, that was a miracle. They found a way to win that game. So, you're right. There's times in which, and to give the Guardians credit, like I'll be honest, I looked at their record and I was like, damn, they can't be that good. I was impressed by their offensive approach, or maybe not even the approach as much as just their peskiness as a lineup. And not to say that this is the only thing that matters is trying to put a bat on a ball and not striking out. But I think it does put an added pressure on pitchers when you just inevitably can never get a swing and a miss, and you can't get a strikeout. Now they'll ground out, sure. But it still requires the defense to have to make a play. And just like you seen the Reds there in that 9th inning, like Fairchild puts the ball in play. Was it hard hit? No. But it was on the ground, and it made them have to make a play, and they didn't make the play. So, I think I counted in the 5th or 6th inning, Nick, and I'm sure I could go back through here and do the count after the fact and figure out where we were at. But I think of their first 21 outs in the game, Nick, only 3 balls were hit on the ground. So as a defense, it's just a lot easier to make plays when all you have to do is catch it and you don't have to throw it. And I know that maybe sounds like we're making it a little too simple, but that's kind of how I felt about the game as a whole, is that the Guardians just had better. They just played better. I can't make, after one game, Nick, I can't sit here and say that the Guardians are like this much better team than the Reds. Now, clearly the record shows that, but I can see why they're a pain in the tail to play with, because it seemed like every hitter was Jacob Hurtubise 2.0, but maybe a little better than Jacob Hurtubise.
Yeah, Stephen Kwan, man, those at-bats from him tonight were just unbelievable. That guy is having an incredible year, and he's spent time on the IL this year and still looks that good. But yeah, this is a team, man, you fall behind on, you're not winning often against. I mean, this is, I don't think people understand, I think people understand they have a good bullpen. Like, their bullpen is the most dominant in baseball, and it's not even close. They came in today with a 2.35 ERA. The next best is the Dodgers at 3.03. That's how big of a gap there is. So, yeah, I mean, they try to get their starters through 5 innings, and then they turn over to their bullpen, and good luck. You're not going to beat them very often. And, unfortunately, again, if that Sear ball goes an extra inch, that's 3 runs on the board. Entirely different trajectory of the entire game.
It is, and I'd also say too, like, even the run that they gave up in the 9th inning, the Guardians did, was kind of a cheap run, because there was a fielder indifference there that allowed the runner to get the second in the first place, and so I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to downplay the Reds' effort in the 9th inning, but at the same time, I don't want to spoil basically the idea that there in the 9th inning it could have been different. If they would have gotten a run or two here or there earlier in the game. Because you look at the score and you lost by 2, but I don't know if that was really a loss by 2. All right. Nick Martinez, first time, I guess, in a while out of the pen. He struggled a little bit. I don't make much of it, Nick. I guess some people hate thinking of it like this, and I get why, because you know you don't want to like the Reds players, to be very clear in the organization, they're not trying to lose any game, but like over a course of 162, man, these games are going to happen. Like, and this is part of it. And Nick Martinez had an outing that, in my opinion, is just part of it. He's not going to be perfect all year long. And how many times has he been unbelievable coming in after Suter as an opener? Kind of felt like this was due.
Yeah, he was really the biggest I don't know what's the word for what's the opposite of beneficiary? Whatever the opposite is, that was him of the Guardians like approach tonight. The first batter, Brayan Rocchio, 10-pitch walk against Martinez, and then 2 batters later, Kwan had that 9-pitch double. So I mean, they grinded out Nick Martinez. It was just surprising to see him have an outing as short as it was. But you know, they had a good approach against him. I don't think he wasn't bad. I mean, I think, you know, there's nothing that I saw today that I'm like, oh, I'm a little bit concerned about. I think this was just one of those days for Martinez. I feel fully confident the next time he comes out, you probably get more of the Nick Martinez that we saw. But we also know, like, his like 1.03 ERA as a reliever or whatever it was, like that's not sustainable either. Like he's gonna come back down to earth some.
No. I was trying to look up some antonyms for beneficiary, and there's a lot of words on here that I've never heard of people using in my life. So
okay, that's why I didn't know what it was.
Have you ever heard of primogenitors? I'm sure it's said some other way because I can never get pronunciation correct. I guess the one that most people. Now I know it's not the same context that you're using, but I have heard of ancestors before. So there's that.
I have no idea that that means that.
Yeah, forefathers. Yeah, who knows? Wouldn't that be the same? Who knows? That's why you tune in for Chatterbox Reds, because you at least get to see one guy that might make you feel smart. And that's all I'm talking about myself. Class A, by the way. I got his name right.
You got it.
Class A.
By the time we get through, you know, 3 or 4 years of the show,
seasons,
you're gonna have
10 years.
You're gonna have every single player across baseball. You're gonna have them in your head.
Yep. Paul DeJong. Can't wait to see him play again. He's still in the league.
He's on the White Sox.
Yeah. How could I forget?
That tracks, right?
Yeah. Just what I do every single night is I think to myself, wow, I got to turn on MLB TV so I can watch the White Sox. All right. Just in case you're in Chicago and you're on the south side and you want to go check out the White Sox play, and maybe you're not on the south side of Chicago, maybe you're in Cincinnati, and you want to go watch the Ohio Cup. There's a battle on the line, Nick. I don't know if you know, but the Reds they're fighting the good fight to try to get the cup. I've not seen this cup. Have you seen the cup?
I've seen the cup before. It's just your standard cup.
Gotcha. I'm about to look this up. But point is, if you're looking to see the cup in person, Nick, and usually in order to see it in person, you got to get tickets. And if you're going to get tickets, there's nowhere else to turn other than the Game Time app. Why, Nick? Why should they turn to the Game Time app?
Well, they should clearly turn to the Game Time app because the Game Time app is a authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball. And you know what that makes? It makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app, they actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. Killer last-minute deals, all-in pricing, views from your seat, and the lowest price guaranteed. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. They have all-in pricing. You can toggle this feature, and it shows you the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. Lowest price guaranteed, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code CINCY for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code CINCY, CINCY, for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
You know what's crazy about what you just said? And I mean, first pitch, which means that I can't completely say that there's asterisks involved. But you said that the prices always go down right before the first pitch, or they usually go down right before the first pitch. I'll tell you where they do not go down, and that is any tip-offs of the West Coast Conference in Las Vegas. That doesn't happen. I'll never forget that story. For those that don't know, my man Nick, he was eyeing some tickets on the Game Time app. He was primed in position the night before to buy $5 tickets to get into the what is it, WAC, I guess, the Western WCC. Okay, the WCC tournament. He was going to watch St. Mary's play Gonzaga and who knows, San Francisco or it was whatever.
They were playing in the opposite games. I didn't get to actually see the two big dogs play each other.
Gotcha. Well, whatever. Anyway, tomato, Paul DeJong, Paul DeYoung, who cares? Point is that I think he spent like $90 on the tickets like right before tip-off because
it was more than that.
Turns out, more than that. Turns out demand changes. So if you like your tickets, get them immediately. That's what I would tell you. And I'd also say, as always, 988 text call. Life's better with you in it. Of course, we want you to be here. We appreciate you being here, as always. Thank you for supporting our show. Speaking of supporting our show, Andrew Scobie, he chimes in. He's got a little bit of a question, I guess. He says, boys, how do the Reds take what the Guardians do and become a better team like them? It seems like they always exceed expectations every year. I don't know, man. If we had that formula, then I think there's a lot of teams in Major League Baseball that are trying to figure that out. And I guess, no one has an answer to that. I will say that Nick's going to tell you, and I don't think he's totally wrong, he's going to tell you that they have a process that they've stuck to that I think a lot of people are getting tired of doing around Cincinnati. Is that right, Nick?
Yeah, if you want to be the Guardians, you do not trade for players at the deadline. You are absolutely stingy with your prospects. You try to just have prospect after prospect after prospect after prospect that comes up. You keep turning them over. You're not afraid to make trades that are unpopular. I've lived up in Cleveland a long time. There's been a lot of pissed off fans in Cleveland when they've traded their favorite players, but they traded Francisco Lindor at his peak value. Andrés Giménez, the guy playing second base, back-to-back Gold Glove winner. He was for Francisco Lindor. You could go around their team. A lot of it's been good drafting and development. It's also been a lot of opportunistic trades that they've made. So what the Reds are trying to do is follow the Guardians model. But in order to follow the Guardians model, you have to stick to the plan. And so far, the Reds have done that. I actually have more concerns, though. Well, a lot of people are always bad about the Reds ownership. And how much they spend. My concern about Reds ownership is that at some point they will say, yeah, you know what, we've had enough of this plan. We're tired of waiting and not be patient, because that's, to me, been their biggest mistakes over the years, that they haven't been patient. They haven't waited out. But the Guardians do. And they and the Guardians, like, the thing is you look at, so they've won over 80 games every year since 2013. But they have a lot of years where they're, mediocre team. Maybe they just get to 80 wins, just 82, 83. But that's the nature of kind of when you have a team full of players like this. Sometimes it goes, you're 43 and 22. Sometimes you're a mediocre team. And there really is no way to predict, because the Guardians team last year on paper going into the year probably looked like a more formidable team than this year did on paper. 100%. It's just this year it happened to work out.
And they lost their biggest arm on their roster early in the season, and then honestly, when that happened and Bieber went down, you kind of felt like, I don't know. I just feel like they got written off, and I feel like there was even Guardian fans that I know, like the opening day of baseball, they weren't even like all that excited about it, because there were trade rumors of Bieber, if I remember right. Basically, that's what they were leading on. Now, I don't obviously pay much attention to what's going on in Cleveland, but it is just kind of wild to think of just how Major League Baseball, how unpredictable it can be in certain organizations. Like the Royals are another one where it's like, how does that happen? But the long season. The Reds, that's another thing that's crazy. The Reds could get hot and they could find themselves winning 85, 86 games, of which we never thought would be even close to possible earlier this year, or it could go the other way, and what we thought was what we thought was the darkest days were behind us. Turns out they weren't. We'll find out. But the good news is that we do have some help coming back. The bad news is that we just found out there was a couple folks that aren't coming back. And I'll be interested to see what you have to say about this, because I think the last time we talked, you were going to try to, and I'm sure that, we still need to reach out to people because we're busy in our lives, and from time to time we say things, we forget to do them. I would like to know if you've ever got to the bottom of your investigative journalistic story of, do other franchises and teams have as many players that are said they're going to be back, or they're fine, or they're going to be healed up, and then all of a sudden they're not fine, they're not healed up, and they're not going to be ready? And I'm not trying to kill our medical staff, Nick, but I don't know. I tell you what I am. Here's what I am. This is the analogy I'm going to use. I'm not even going to say anything about this situation. You can talk about it. I'm the guy that's standing in the line, waiting my patient turn, telling everyone around him, like, hey, it's going to be all right. Just relax. They're working hard back there in the back. They'll get to us in a minute. And I feel like I'm that guy now. I'm waiting in the line. I'm turning around. I'm looking at those guys. I'm like, you know what, man? I don't know, man. These guys might be onto something. And I'm starting to get a little restless, is what I'm saying. Now, I'm not there yet, but here soon, I'll tell you right now, if my food's not hot when I get it after waiting in this long line, I'm going to be pissed. And I'm going to be a mad customer. So, yeah, this whole medical staff situation, I don't know. Trending to the conspiracy theory side, Nick.
I don't know. The Reds injury list doesn't really look all that much different than most teams across baseball. The Reds just, unfortunately, it's more of it's been more of their key pieces that they were counting on. It's not something more substantial than everyone else. I do know I do know for a fact, because I follow this every time I see it. I make a mental note in my head. I do know the fact of people that talk about how the Reds are the only team in baseball that will leave a player on their active roster while they're trying to figure out if he's hurt or not. They are not the only team that does that. There is team after team after team. You follow other teams, they all do this. They don't just say, oh, he's hurt. Yeah, we're going to throw him right on the IL. I know Austin Riley went like 10 days not on the IL, didn't play in a game this year. And there's example after example of teams that do that. Now, I don't know. The Reds, again, like, what are these injuries? Like Christian Encarnacion Strand is like a hairline fracture or something. Like, it's not like this was some, I don't know. It's just.
Now he might have ligaments torn or something.
Yeah, his injury was just one of the strangest ones that I've heard. I honestly, I haven't really looked into it.
I'll pull it up while you're talking.
News broke when I was assistant to the assistant T-ball coaching.
Nice.
Today. And so, I haven't dug into it. I came home, got the kids food, turned on the game, and, here we are. So I don't know. I haven't really looked into it that deep, but Encarnacion, all I know is Encarnacion Strand, is a big piece to this team. And, one thing I will say is I'm a big fan of Jacob Hurtubise. I'm not a big fan of Jacob Hurtubise's designated hitter. I don't really understand that usage of him. Like Nick Martini, I think would be a better designated hitter than Jacob Hurtubise. Nick Martini, we'll talk about him in a minute. 4-5 just continues to crush it in AAA. If you're gonna have like a guy like CES out for this long, then I think you need a power hitter. You need to take a chance on a guy like Martini, or go pick up someone else that has some power, to kind of give you a chance.
Well, it all comes down to whether or not Hurtubise is going to be the on-base guy that he was when he was in the minors, right? That's the $1 million question mark. I would argue that I'm okay with Hurtubise being a DH guy, sparingly, in perfect situations, like, maybe once every 3 or 4 weeks, but he's going to play the outfield the rest of the time if he's capable of showing that he's going to be a 400-plus on-base percentage type player. Now, we've not seen that yet, so we don't know for sure. Yeah, because ultimately, if he's not going to get on base at a very high clip, I should say, the value for him drops off significantly, as we know. And then you can live with a DH having a little more power and more swing and miss. In regards to CES, this is from our friend Charlie Charlie Goldsmith at the Inquirer. He said that David Bell had mentioned a ligament damage along with CES's wrist injury. He's seeing a specialist before making decisions. Surgery is an option, Bell said. We're hopeful he can start progressing, I should say, if that's what he and the specialists decide. So, yeah, I don't know how these things come about, Nick. I don't know if he accidentally, did something at his house last week that, he slipped and fell and put his wrist down and he tore a ligament, or if this was something that was a part of the situation back when he hurt his hand the first time. I don't know. To be fair to the medical staff and to be fair to the doctors, it could have been something that just happened, and now all of a sudden they got to kind of, they don't want to come out and just say that he hurt it in a non-baseball activity. But it just makes you wonder, like, this guy was, Nick, and you're not wrong in regards to guys going on kind of a bench role while they figure out an injury situation and they don't put him on the IL. But it's just crazy to me to think that this guy was sitting on the bench for 3, 4, 5, 6 days, and we got ourselves in a spot now where he might be out for the season, when we were trying to hold him out for 5 or 6 days to see if he could come back and play. That stuff doesn't add up from time to time. And you had India's situation last year. You had Marte. You obviously have Brandon Williamson now. You have Nick Lodolo from last season. And and again, maybe this is normal. Like you said, maybe this is normal. Maybe we don't pay attention to any other franchises. So for that matter, this might be kind of a thing that everyone deals with. But it gets tiresome. It definitely gets tiresome, and you just wonder why this continues to happen.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been back and forth on Encarnacion and Strand, where like 5 days ago it said, it was a report he got good news. He was about to be cleared, or he was cleared to begin activities. So I don't know. I mean, unless you're like an actual medical doctor and you can actually walk through exactly what each of these injuries are and what the procedure is and how likely it is to see whatever the injury is. Like, it's so silly for someone like me to speculate on it.
I agree. I'm not here to suggest that it's 100% the medical staff. It's just like, I guess I'm not going to go there, but I guess the thought is like, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to realize that a rocket failed, is what I'm saying, if that makes sense. In the sense that if you watch a rocket, and I'm using one of the analogies that I guess is the most non-controversial, is what I'll say. But you see a rocket take off and it doesn't go where it's intended to go. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to say, hey, that didn't work. I guess to the point now where Reds fans are starting to ask themselves, like, this medical situation where you have an injury and then you have to deal with that injury, it seems more times than not that doesn't, it just doesn't seem to be working out as much as you think that it should. But again, you're right. Nobody should be like 100% confident that it's a medical staff situation, because none of us know, to be clear. I think that's more than fair.
The only person that I'm going to listen to on their opinion is the Reds medical staff good or bad is someone that's a medical expert. Like,
right.
It's stupid. It's absolutely stupid for me to have an opinion one way or the other. I'm not going to sit here and say they're good. I have no idea if they're good. I'm not going to sit here and say they're bad, because I have no idea if they're bad. It's just so far above me that it's really, all I could try to do is, amateur guess what the Reds should do without Christian Encarnacion Strand, because it doesn't sound like they're going to have him for the rest of the year.
I agree.
And for me right now, I think the move would be, you got to get Ning Martini back up here. It's tough who you cut. I don't like sending Hurtubise down, but kind of feels like he's probably the odd man out just because of your platoon situations in the outfield. But I don't either play Hurtubise in the outfield and DH someone like Benson, who's an okay defender, or maybe even Fraley. Like I don't see Hurtaby's value as a DH, and he's DH'd the last 2 times he started, and so that's just kind of a very weird role for him. And I think you need another guy that can hit the ball to the ballpark.
I would just say if the Reds find themselves in a position at the deadline and they're in the race, or we deem ourselves as buyers, I think it's pretty evident that the number one need at this point, that I am going to be pretty steadfast in saying, Nick, is we got to find a way to get an outfield bat that has some pop. Simple as that. And I'm not saying you trade the farm for him, but I would also say going into this offseason, if we can find a right-handed bat that's got some power, I would like it. It would be nice. Simple as that.
I need someone with some power.
You're saying it doesn't have to be an outfielder? Are you counting Steer as an outfielder?
No, I think he should be the DH.
This wry smile. This wry smile's got this is going somewhere.
If you're telling me, I got one position player to add, and I can get let's play a hypothetical here. I can get a 120 WRC plus guy. He can play any position. I'm get a second baseman. I know India's been great of late, but that's still, I think, your weakest link in terms of overall value. And then you could have Marte at third base, right? You could have Candelario at first base. Everyone's better. Your infield's better. And
are you not buying into the idea that McLean will be back healthy in August, playing at
I'm not banking on him.
A decent clip? Okay.
McLean's a bonus. If you get anything out of McLean, that's a bonus. And you move some other poor schmuck out of their position. But if you're banking on Matt McLean this year, I think that's probably a fool's errand. But yeah, look, we'll talk about Marte in a second. He looked good tonight. He's certainly going to provide something of value to the Reds. How much? I don't know, but he's going to be better than what they're running out there, especially defensively every night.
It's fair. All right. Let's do some Reds in my LB. We'll obviously discuss Marte's return. We'll get into who, what, when, where, and why. We'll get into some supers here really quickly that I see. Also see some some chats that are relatively interesting. We may or may not discuss. We shall find out. But before we do all that, we will jump into Reds minor league baseball, MILB. Nick, take it away.
All right, Louisville, they lost 3-2 to St. Paul. Story of this one, obviously, Noelvi Marte. He finished the day 2 for 5 with a double. First at bat, he doubled down the left field line, 5-pitch at bat, 103 mile per hour exit velocity. At bat number 2, it was a fly out, but hit hard, 5-pitch at bat. At bat number 3, 94 mile per hour ground out on a 5-pitch at bat. At bat number 4, opposite field single on a 4-pitch at bat, hit 105 miles per hour. And then his last at bat, he struck out looking in a 7-pitch at bat. So also made a really nice defensive play. Looked the part of a guy that could be a big league third baseman for sure, at least in game number 1 of his rehab assignment. Rhys Hines was 1 for 5. Nick Martini just continues to absolutely rake that AAA, 4 for 5 with a double. Connor Capel, he had a nice day, 3 for 3 with a walk. Capel actually batting 8th tonight for the Louisville Bats. He's been really struggling, but a good night for him. Over on the pitching side, start off with the bad. Zach Maxwell continues to struggle. He loaded the bases, had to be bailed out of the inning, only got 2 outs, walked 2 batters. Maxwell's now walked 12 in 6 2/3 since getting promoted to AAA. Christian Roa gave 3 hits and a run over an inning and a third. Alex Young retired both batters that he faced. One pitcher I do want to make sure I mention is Yasver Zuleta. And a lot of people always ask about who could be a guy the Reds could call up, if they need a reliever here or there. Yasver Zuleta is on the 40-man roster, guy the Reds claimed from the Blue Jays this spring, right before the season started. He's been dominant of late. Last 8 games, 13 innings, 6 hits, 1 earned run, 6 walks, 15 strikeouts. It's a very nice 0.69 ERA. Down to AA, our Chattanooga Lookouts. They had a walk-off win. They won 8-7 over Montgomery. Julian Aguilar, nice outing from him. 6 innings, 3 runs, no walks, 5 strikeouts. He's pitching well this season. Dominic Patelli continues to hit, 2 for 4, double, stole a 17th bag combined from his 2 stops. Austin Hendrick, 1 for 4 the double. Bubba Thompson had 2 hits, and Nick Northcutt hit his Southern League leading 13th home run of the season. Down to High A, Dayton, they won 4-3 over Great Lakes. Javier Rivera, he threw 6 innings of 2-run baseball, no walks, 6 strikeouts. Sal Stewart hit an absolute bomb, his 6th of the year, also had a walk. Cam Collier was 0 for 4. Hector Rodriguez on base twice, and then Carlos Jorge, he had a big day. Really good prospect. Struggled a little bit this year, but a nice night, 3 for 4 at his 7th home run of the year, and also doubled. Daytona, they were rained out. Arizona Complex League, they're just getting underway. Over in the Dominican Summer League, Adolfo Sanchez on base twice with a double. He's hitting 286, 810 OPS through his first 6 games. That was the Rez Prize International signing. Nabel Mariano was 1 for 4. And then I'm trying to pronounce this guy's name because I was told I got to add him to the rundown. I got to have him on there. Jervin Moriallo. He has to be on the rundown, but he didn't play. So hopefully we'll get something from Jervin Moriallo tomorrow.
You sound like me with major league players that have been in the league for 10 years.
Yeah.
So there's that.
I tried it like 15 times though.
Well, I didn't say you did a bad job. I'm just saying you may or may have not mispronounced it. You'll find out in about 9 years.
That's true.
All right, we have Noelvi Marte. He returns. I've not obviously made any public statements on kind of that situation since he's come back. I know he had the quote. I guess maybe it's because he plays for the Reds, and I'll openly admit that I'm biased. I'll openly admit that if this was some other player for a different organization, I'd probably make fun of him, or I'd say something that was what I thought was entertaining. I'm not going to do that with Noelvi, and I think it's just because I don't really buy a lot into the whole situation of Noelvi in regards to the quote. I don't care. I really don't care. And I guess that's just me being dead honest about it. I don't care if he wants to lie about it. I don't care if he's telling the truth in regards to he thinks that it was some coincidental substance or something coincidental that he was eating or whatever. I just don't care. He's going to serve his 80 games. He served his 80 games. He's going to be back on the Reds. He's going to play again. The only thing that I do care about is I'd like to make sure that whatever happened before doesn't happen again. And if that's the case, I could care less how he wants to handle it. If he wants to deny, go for it, man. If he wants to come out in a press conference and say that he feels like, he was touched by the fact that he did something wrong and for the rest of his life he's going to be, the closest thing that's ever come to Jesus since Jesus was here, that's fine too. I don't care. I really could care less. So if you don't know my stance, I'll say it one more time. I don't care what his quote was. I'm looking forward to him coming back and playing Reds baseball, and I expect him to be what he used to be. Don't think for a single second, Nick, any of the talents, any of the successes that he had in Major League Baseball had anything to do with performance-enhancing drugs. I guess we'll find out ultimately, but that's where I'm at with it, and I'm looking forward to it because if nothing else, it's at least another breath of fresh air, something else to watch when you watch this game night in and night out.
Yeah, I don't just play well, baby. I don't really care. The most important thing, those who listen, we did put the full press conference up on the Chatterbox Red podcast this morning, so you can check that out. The most important thing that he answered, along with your point, was they said, what are you going to do to make sure this doesn't happen again? He said, I'm going to be very careful about what goes in my body. Good. That's all that matters. I don't give a damn about what happened. What's done is done.
Yeah.
Looked good tonight. Had great competitive at-bats every single time he stepped in the box. Looked sharp defensively. He's going to help this team. I don't know how much he'll help this team. I don't know if he's going to be an all-star caliber player when he comes back, or if he's just going to be an upgrade over what we have. Either way, he's going to help this team, and that to me is all that matters.
I agree. I hope he plays well. I'll leave it at that. All right, let's do who, what, when, where, and why, and we'll get into some supers.
Yeah, not going to get any easier for the Reds tomorrow. They'll be going up against Tanner Bybee. This was the Guardians' 5th-round pick, top 100 prospect. When he debuted, he finished second in the AL Rookie of the Year voting last season. 10-4, 2.98 ERA. This guy relies on 5 pitches, 4-seamer, slider, changeup, curveball, and then very occasionally a sinker. Throws 95 miles per hour. He's never faced the Reds, so this will be a new challenge. The only Reds that's faced him is Santiago Espinal, who's 0-2, who certainly will not be in the lineup. But yeah, Bybee is having a great year. He's having a great career so far. So certainly a big challenge for the Reds, but the Reds will counter with a pretty good pitcher of their own, Nick Lodolo. Last 3 starts for Lodolo since he came off the IL, 3-0, 2.08 ERA. Best number I like from Lodolo, 3 walks since he's come back in 17 and a third innings pitched. Lodolo has only faced the Guardians once in his major league career. It was his MLB debut on April 13th, 2022. Didn't go well. Lodolo just really struggled with his command in that one, but again, that was his major league debut. Lodolo was not even close to the pitcher that he was on that day. Active Guardians against Lodolo, they're 2-for-7. Kwan's 0-for-2. Ramírez 2-for-2 with a homer. And Austin Hedges, who most likely will not be in the lineup, is 0-for-3.
I don't know if you've looked, but whoever it was that posted the tweet of the streaker at GAVP, they've won. They've won. It
was Jimmy.
They've won the social prize.
Yeah.
This thing's doing numbers first and foremost. And the first thing that I read, sign this guy up for the floor routine at the Olympics. The backflip is clean. All right, we got some supers before we end the night. James Dornsife said, now we find out CES ligaments messed up. Is this another missed medical staff bobo? What do the Reds do to deal with that problem? James, we obviously accidentally came across this topic and talked about it for quite some time there on the show. I don't know. Nick is right, because ultimately at the end of the day, none of us know a damn thing about any of the situations that are going on with the medical. I do also think that there's some rational people out there that could also be frustrated by the fact that this isn't the first time or the second or the third time where there's been some kind of miscalculation when it comes to how long people are going to be out for. And maybe that's part of the problem too. And David Bell, I don't want to say it's David Bell's problem either, but David Bell probably hasn't helped the medical staff at times when he says, we think he's going to be okay. And then all of a sudden he probably shouldn't have said that maybe, or maybe that's what they thought. And then they went and did the x-rays or the MRI, and then they come back and they realize that everything's not okay. And then it's kind of like this, where we're kind of holding them hostage off of something that somebody said just off a limb in a post-game press conference. That's also fair to be said too. The only real evidence I would say to kind of give this super chat its wholesome, deserving credit that it might deserve. The only thing that I would say that has some real merit to it that we can latch onto if you're anti-medical staff, which seems like a wild side to be on, but if you are that, it would be the Jonathan India situation, in my opinion, because India obviously got some advice, or you got basically something said to him from the medical staff. He disagreed with it. He then went to another medical professional that was outside that was outside of the Reds complex, and he got some semblance of a quote that was, "I don't know why it was ever going to be treated this way in general." That is something I think you could maybe take to the court for your case against the medical staff. Chase Butcher. I think I can't. The names are small on my screen, so please bear with me. When are we going to stand up for our guys and make it open season on the opposing team for throwing at us? I must have missed that. I didn't see anyone throwing at anybody. Are we talking about the Dunn thing? No way we're talking about that, right?
He's obviously not trying to hit Blake Dunn. And
but is that what he's referencing?
Yeah, I think that was the only hit by pitch batter. I'll double check.
Chase,
yeah, that was it.
Yeah, no. Listen, he didn't mean to do that. I think intent is everything. And I don't think the Reds have really gotten thrown at intently this year at all. I don't think they have at all. I think that they've had some bad luck, guys getting hit in his hands all this center. And I would also say maybe I'm soft for saying this, but I also stand on the same side as Nick. Throwing at guys when there's no intent behind it leads to nowhere other than other guys throwing at other guys, and then all of a sudden you got yourself into basically nothing but a crap storm, and then ultimately it really doesn't solve any issues in the first place, so there's really no reason to do it. Now, having said that, if there's somebody that has intent or somebody is throwing at your guys on purpose, that's a different game. Now we're kind of like playing chicken a little bit, and you don't ever want to get punked. So, but I don't think that's been the case all year. Nick, you got anything to add on the whole?
No, I don't think there was any intent there. I mean, it just pitched that got away. And it's dangerous. I mean, you don't want to be doing that on purpose because you already have the risk of that happening accidentally. Like, you don't need to be doing that. I love the way the Reds handled it when it did feel like they were getting thrown at too much. They just straight took it to the field. They just straight tried to fight the other team. I mean, that's a better way of settling it, in my opinion. You're probably not gonna have them throwing and having a beanball war. You deuce it out on the field. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, maybe some hard 90s, sliding some bags a little recklessly at time. I don't know. It's hard to say. Michael Rolfe, he's back better than ever, baby. He said, I am going to get political for a second. I have an old flag that got ripped in a recent storm. What do I do to appropriately set it to rest? Mail it to GABP, and let Herdebees resolve my dilemma. I don't know the protocol for the flag. I do know that I love this country, and I do know that I love the flag. So whatever some veteran or somebody that obviously did a lot more than me to make this country great, they should get to decide. Well, I don't know. I'm not providing any advice on that, Michael. Nick, do you know what you do with rip flags? I don't know. I really don't know.
I don't know. I'm Googling MLB second opinions, and there's just a laundry list of players this year that have gotten second opinions across Major League Baseball. So I would encourage you, Google MLB second opinion and read about all the different players across so many different teams. Devin Williams of the Brewers, he went and saw a second opinion. Wow. Wild. Interesting.
Nick, this is where Nick gets himself in trouble.
I know.
Michael Rolfe said it's a game of inches tonight, ladies and gents. For Nick and Trace, would you have reached over the wall for Fraley's potential home run ball in the first? I debated it with my wife. I would have gone full Steve Bartman. That's a tough spot. I mean, because if you reach over, then what is the call on that? They're out? Are they out? I think they're out.
You could actually take away a home run, because if you reach over and it's kind of a gray area where it's probably going down, but they can't conclusively say it's going down, you may actually cost them a home run. So I don't think you can help them anymore with replay. Now, you could have helped them, I think, pre-replay, right? Because the umpire can't see it. You pull it in, they're just like, oh, it went over the fence, right? But with replay, you can't really, in my opinion, I think you can only hurt them.
I agree. I think that they're out if it's deemed as interference, which is just crazy. I mean, it's part of it, I guess. But I've always thought of like a pop-up around the outfield or whatever, like the Benson play, kind of like standing your ground on the edge of the fence, like almost like acting like a center in basketball when they're walling up. I've always thought, like, now it'd be a little risky. You're probably going to get hit hard, or the baseball might hit you. But if you just walled up right there on the wall, and then as soon as they went to dive in the stands with their gloves, just like smacking their gloves, you'd piss off the player. But hey, you're protecting your team. I think that's the way to do it. That should, you know, what would be funny is if some ballpark stadium had like a bit on that in like the first inning of like, if you're sitting near a wall, like a plane, like kind of how they do the whole plane exit row thing. It's like, if you're sitting near a wall and there's a foul ball coming, you know, please stand up. Please stand up and swat any opposing gloves in your near direction. Now, I know Major League Baseball probably wouldn't allow that to go on, but food for thought. It happened in mine. Jimmy Collins is in the chat. Jimmy, you're a superstar tonight, my friend. Superstar.
Jimmy's gonna single-handedly let us monetize the Twitter account
Seems that way.
that we've been trying to get for months. He's gonna do it in one video.
Just needed somebody to go.
I've been grinding, making these social media clips, spending 3 hours on one of them. Jimmy just pulls out his phone, shoots, bam. What a hero. What a legend.
Yeah. Here's a terrible analogy of the night. We're gonna all go to bed together. This reminds me of like when you walk into the gas station and there's a guy that's got a pile of scratch offs basically over the size of a mountain sitting next to him, and he's just been scratching, just praying to the Lord that he's gonna get that big ticket. And some big frat boy comes rolling all in. He's like, "Oh, I got an extra 20. Let me throw it on number 12 back there." And he scratches it off in front of the counter. And then he's like, "Holy smokes, man! I want 10 grand." And he turns around and this guy's got $600 worth of scratch off sitting in front of him. That's basically what Jimmy just did tonight to you, by the way, which is, it's kind of funny. I think it's funny.
Hey, they all count. Shout out to Jimmy. Jimmy's a grinder. He's a grinder. Jimmy had at least 20 scratch offs before he hit his. So
fair enough. There you go. Fair enough. All right, folks. We will be back better than ever tomorrow. So that leads us, as always. Do you have anything to add, Nick?
No. Reds find a way to win tomorrow. This is a really good 2-game series. This is a really good team in the Guardians, and excited to see Nick Lodolo pitch. I think this is a pretty decent matchup for him, knock on wood. They do have a lot of left-handed batters in their lineup, the Guardians do, and Lodolo's been pitching really well. So nice to see Lodolo in a matchup against another team's. I'd call Bybee their ace, so should be a fun matchup tomorrow.
Colin just made me laugh in the chat, too. He said, Traces, this reminds me of his Collinsworth's. Now, here's a guy. That's funny. It's funny. I can laugh at that joke because I think it's relatively true. And sometimes you got to laugh at yourself. And I am. I'm going to do that. This is a part of the show where I'm going to play the outro, and we're just going to lead you out. I'm going to tell you, as always, you can download the podcast and listen to it, unlike I did this morning. Nick's on me. You know what? Nick's on me. For good reason. I should have known Nick wasn't going to take a day off. Why? Because Nick never does. I don't know why he does. I don't know why he doesn't, but he doesn't. It's just part of the deal. Just grinds and grinds and grinds and grinds and grinds and grinds and grinds. So, you know what? That's why I just say, you know what? If he wants to be positive all the time, he can be positive all the time. Doesn't matter. He's earned that right. He's earned that right. So, as always, if you're looking for a podcast in the morning to listen to on your morning coffee, on your way to work, maybe you work third shift, whatever it is, you can download Chatterbox Reds. Why? Because it's there each and every single morning. Thanks to Nick Kirby. Leave us a review, rate it, do us all the usuals, like, subscribe. Thanks, everybody. Go Reds. We'll see you tomorrow.